Hey guys, this is going to be a video on the Xbox 360 versus the PS3. I'm going to try and do this with as little bias as possible and make it so there's, well, I can't really make it so there's no comments in the description or comment box. Okay, let's first go to the platform comparison with the Xbox 360 specs versus the PS3 specs. Okay, let's get started with the PS3 specs and details. As you can see, the processor has a 3.2 GHz. It has 256 megabytes of RAM and a 555 MHz NVIDIA card. That's the main stuff that you're going to want to know, and also is released in spring of '06. Now, the processor for the 360 is relatively the same, 3.2 GHz and all the cores and all that stuff. The memory, though, also known as the RAM, random access memory, is higher. It is 512 megabytes. But the graphics processing unit is lower. It has 500 megahertz and it is ATI. Okay, so after all the specs that I just showed you, you can see that the 360 does have a bit more RAM, but as you know, the PS3 has a Blu-ray player, and it has, which the discs can hold more memory, and also it has better graphics. So I'm going to give the edge to the PS3 in this one, as the 360 may have more RAM, but the PS3 is better in almost every other category. Now, let's go to the exclusive games. As you can see on Metacritic, these are the all-time high scores. Now, in the top 5, there are 2 PS3 exclusives. Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, which got a 96, and Little Big Planet, which got a 95. Those both are 2 great scores, and are both solid games. Now, in the top 10, they have 3, with Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns Up the Patriots. All-time high scores for the Xbox 360. Now, there are no exclusives in the top 5, as you can see, but there are 2 in the top 10. Gears of War at number 6 got a 94, and number 9, Halo 3, that also got a 94. Now, number 11, Braid, Xbox Live arcade game, got a 93. That's extremely high for a downloadable game that you cannot find in a retail store, that can be found on the Wii, PS3, or 360, but I'm not going to include the Wii on this, as it is a totally different console. Now, number 14, Gears of War 2, 93, and in 17th spot, their last exclusive, Forza Motorsport 3 with a 92. Now, you may wonder why I'm going with all the top 20 for all-time high scores exclusive for the 360, but as you can see, the PS3 has, in my opinion, better exclusives, but the Xbox 360 ones are right behind, and they're both great fun. I'm going to give this edge to the PS3. Let's go for a look on each console. Now, I'm going to start off with the old PS3. As you can see, it is kinda a bit tall. In a way, it looks like a fridge. The controller stays with its roots of the PS2, just with a bit of difference, as the R2 and L2 kinda, how do I put this, they're not fully attached to the plastic, and they kinda go with your fingers, as you can see. It is an ergonomic controller, but also, as you can see, it kinda looks like the NES controller, but I'm not going to hold that against them, as the whole gaming industry now is just plagiarism, except for a few games. Now, let's go to the PS3 Slim. Here's the PS3 Slim. As you can see, it is slimmed down lengthwise and widthwise. Now, it looks a lot less like a fridge, as you can see, and it just says PS3 instead of PlayStation 3. It is now a matte finish instead of the glossy finish, which is better, as there are far less fingerprints as you would get with the glossy finish. You get the exact same controller, and now let's go to the Xbox 360. Now here's the Xbox 360. Now, As you see right here, it is big. It is big width-wise and length-wise, and you'll need to clear a bit of space for this to fit. Though that should not be much of a problem. It retains its matte finish as you had from the previous Xbox, and I still like that far more. I'm going to give the 360 the edge over the PS3 Fat, but we'll see about the Xbox 360 Slim versus the PS3 Slim. There. That's the Xbox 360 Slim with the Kinect peripheral in the bottom left, but let's ignore that. Now, as you can see, the Xbox 360 Slim really slimmed down. It is smaller than the PS3 Slim, and it looks, in my opinion, a bit better. It kind of looks like an X if you really piece it together. And the controller did not change at all, other than it is a shiny silver in the Xbox Live Guide button. Also, everything is touch on the Xbox 360. And it's very sensitive. If you touch the tray, it'll open the disc tray. If you touch the power button, it'll power on, and etc. It has the glossy finish now, which I don't like as much. It looks more sleeker, but that's only out of the box. Once you use it for about a week, it's going to just be fingerprinty, and you're going to get annoyed. And as you can see now, it has more fans, and the hard drive is now inside. I'm going to give the looks category to the Xbox 360. Here's the Xbox 360 and PS3 comparison of graphics. I believe this is Need for Speed, but correct me if I'm wrong, but it does not matter. As you can see, the PS3 is a bit brighter on the right side, and you can see more of a nicer shine. It's not too glossy, but it has a more realistic shine. The red on the light and the lights, the backlights, you can see looks better on the PS3 than it does on the 360. Though this camera is bad, so I may not depict that, but if you look at this picture, then it shows that. Also, the mirror in the top, it looks more realistic on the PS3. It is a bit darker, and you cannot see the road as well, but you can still see the basic parts of the road, and it makes it for a more realistic drive, as in night you won't be able to see that much in the mirror in the front. Now, let's go to the 360 and PS3 controller comparison. Here's the Xbox 360 controller. As you can see, it looks almost the exact same as the old Xbox controller. The difference is that the black and white button, as seen, that was right here, roughly, for both of them, is now no more. They are now, in a way, the right bumper and the left bumper. Also, they added this thing, the Xbox Guide button. Basically, it's like a PS3 home button, if you will. You press it and it opens up all the stuff. You can see your profile, your achievements, who's online, the marketplace, though you have to go back to the dashboard. You can access the dashboard from there. You can adjust all your preferences and settings and stuff, and also you can sign in and out between profiles, and you can go to something called Quick Launch, which quickly launches a game just from pressing that, and you press A couple times and you're good to go. Now let's go to the PS3. Here's the PS3 controller. As you can see, it looks almost identical to the PS2 controller, except they added the PS3 home button. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it does kind of the same thing as the PSP home button, which does, you press it and you can go back to the PS3 home. Also, the L2 and R2 are different. They are not fully attached to the controller, if that makes sense. They don't fall off, but they go more with your finger. Like, if you press the button hard, then they'll kind of go hard. They'll go harder and kind of go around with your finger a bit. They'll go down more. Also, the D-pad is better than the Xbox 360, as it's not like an analog stick in a way like the 360. I'm going to give this equal, as it really depends on your personal preference, so 1 point each. Thanks for watching. Now, if you're wondering why I didn't touch down the Xbox Live and PSN, it's because they've been really beat to death in a lot of things. The Xbox Live is better, even though I have to pay $50. It has more dedicated servers, and in my opinion, you get access to more. Okay, that's a brief thing. Xbox gets more to that. also, I hope you enjoyed this. I touched down the main things that you need to know. In my opinion, they are both equal. I personally have an Xbox 360, though I'd be glad to have a PS3, but I have no room for it at the moment. If you want something that has really good graphics and can play Blu-ray, get a PS3. If you want something that has better online and the games most of the time play better on the 360, then go with the Xbox 360. They are both great consoles and you cannot go wrong with either one, and the price points are basically the same depending on what version you get. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned, subscribe, and like.